kick it off with James. What do you have for us, James?
Okay, so first question is the latest Hasbro project is amazing. It's been very, very well received, as I'm sure you'll all agree. But the platform is still very much out of reach for a lot of people, and it seems at the moment to only cater for the vintage collection, which is great for certain people. But saying all of that, obviously with the current global downturn, with COVID and everything else going on, has any thought been given to some lower priced items on HasLab?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I think on the website when we launched it, like the purpose of HasLab is to bring dream products that we can't get through another kind of option, another retail option, like period. It doesn't have to be big, in size. It doesn't have to be a high price point. Those have been the two thus far, just because the Barge had been like 40 years of history. And then the Razor Crest, we had to do the Razor Crest after, Mando exploded. But yeah, absolutely. We've talked about, whether that's, smaller creatures or vehicles, or, very niche figures that like established fans definitely want, but just don't make sense in mainline. You mentioned Black Series, I think, or like only covering the vintage collection. Absolutely Black Series is in scope. So I think, each successive HasLab project has like been more and more exciting and kind of even better and better received. And so I think the future is bright for HasLab, and it can go in a lot of different directions. And we're in a good place of just having too many good options to choose from. So we're excited to see where it goes.
Brilliant, thank you.
Absolutely.
A couple of vintage related questions. Captain Rex in the vintage collection is very much welcomed, but why have you chosen to bring back the Black Series version when you've got the 2013 Legacy version, which has never been released and it's much, much better?
Well, Patrick might be able to answer this one better than me. The vintage collection isn't my product line, so I don't know it in depth the way Patrick probably does.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, James, we agree. Obviously, Captain Rex is a great character. We love him, and seeing season 7 of the Clone Wars, like he has so many amazing arcs, and it's great to talk to D. Bradley Baker at PulseCon about him. We launched that figure, and obviously we've seen some of the comments online about that figure. That we're going to be speaking about this a little bit in the future, but that figure is shipped. That one's moving forward, but we've definitely heard the comments, and kind of future releases of Captain Rex, we'll definitely take those comments to heart. And again, there's more news coming. News is overselling it a little bit. There's more kind of sharing and conversation coming. But just know that, yeah, we do want to let the fans know that version of Rex is shipped. That's happening. We've definitely heard the feedback, and it's something that we're going to address for the future. And I know it's easy to kind of get cynical and say, oh, well, it's easy to say, but just hold us accountable. Like next time we release a Rex in the vintage collection, like I'm saying here, it will look different, and yeah, hold us accountable to that.
Okay. I mean, there seems to be ongoing small mistakes in the vintage collection, like the numbering of these two at the moment.
Incinerator Trooper.
Yeah. They're both numbered 177, and you did that, unfortunately, recently with 150 and 164.
How? Is that a question?
Yeah. How can you stop these things? I mean, it's great for carded collectors because obviously they can get both versions, but it is a bit frustrating for people.
Yep, totally. So first of all, totally understand the frustration. It's not something we take lightly. As fans who want kind of all the numbers and don't want overlap. Like I have all the vintage carded figures in my office as well. So like, and at home. So like we feel it as well, and I think even more importantly, like the whole reason we do our jobs is like because we see the passion and joy that fans have, and that's not hollow words. Like I remember I took this job because I went into a store and kind of saw kids and fans getting excited about Star Wars products, and I was like, that's awesome. So it's not something we take lightly. It's kind of human detail, and it's something we're continually refining and trying to make sure it doesn't happen. I don't think it's increased recently or that it's new. Like I can look over both Black Series and vintage over the past several years, and there's always going to be one-off things. But saying that doesn't mean that we're just saying like, oh, there's always going to be things. What can we do? Like whenever things like this happen, we always discuss how can we address it as quickly as possible and how can we prevent it from happening in the future. and putting safeguards into place. And so that's something we're continually doing.
Yeah. And what are the correct numbers for those two figures? Can you just clarify that? Do you know?
The correct numbers for those two figures? Sorry, 150 and 164, the two
No.
177s?
So 177. So
yeah.
The Incinerator Trooper and the Child. And...
Yep. So they both shipped at this point with 177, so they will both have 177. And that's something that, is unfortunate, but I'm sure in 40 years we'll celebrate somehow because it'll become part of the line. But we are gonna make sure that we get that VC 176 out there in the future, so there won't be a gap.
Okay, cool. The new diorama vintage collection packs are fantastic, but people want more figures available when those come out. So, for example, we've just had the Bespin Carbonite Chamber. There's loads of figures missing. We've got no Ugonauts. We've got, we need to try and redress that balance. So when those come out, we've got figures to go with them, please.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's definitely something we've talked about for the play sets moving forward, having them more kind of integrated into the line with kind of more items surrounding it. It's kind of similar to what we've talked about that we did with the barge to a limited extent. When it shipped in 19, we had, that was our first, reintroduction to the play set was, around the barge. We had a couple exclusives, the skiffs. We're certainly talking about that for, HasLab projects moving forward, but also with play sets kind of building, tight themes around that. I think with the Bespin playset, there was just, a lot that we wanted to pack in here in 2020 with, obviously we're seeing some more Mando figures. Obviously we're touching off Rogue One a little bit. And so there were just a lot of different things we wanted to get into the line. But yeah, that's definitely something that was maybe a little bit of a miss. We're talking about fleshing out Bespin a little more in the future. So we'll see what happens there. But no, it's a good point. We're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, well, and it's a chicken and the egg sort of problem too. I mean, if we don't have a Razor, or if there wasn't a Razor Crest, I mean, there's not as much reason to have crew for the Razor Crest. So it's back and forth.
European distribution is getting a lot, and it has got a lot better. So thank you.
Oh, good.
Thank you for that, and I really appreciate that. But we've heard from several European suppliers that the exclusive program stopped. You paused that because whilst you're looking at better ways to bring exclusives into various European countries. So we wanted to know how long that pause is going to be, and will we still get those exclusives whilst you're changing things?
Interesting. Yeah, no, it's good to hear that things are getting better. Like, we've been talking about distribution, I think you and I and Volker for like 3 or 4 years now. We know it's a pain point. Like, we know, I'm sure it still is, but like we've done various things to try to help it and make it better. And so it is good to hear that it is better. And I'm not taking that at all like, hey, it's solved, we don't have to do anything else. But it's, oh yeah, and I know you didn't intend that, but I just want to assure your readers that we're not going to take our eye off the ball, but it's good to hear that things are improving. I haven't heard about a pause for the exclusive program right now. Basically with exclusives, like, we have our US partners, but we work with our teams around the globe to secure exclusive partners for all of those items. And one thing we've talked about recently is that it's not a matter of picking and choosing. Like, Black Series and vintage fans around the world, like, they don't want just a smattering, like they want the whole collection. That's part of what goes into collecting. And so that's something we've talked about and communicated. So it's certainly something I'll look into, and I'll revert back with more thoughts.
Yeah, because the suppliers that we've been talking to have all said that that's happened over the last few weeks. They've been told that there's been a pause on bringing exclusives in. And apparently the only exception to that was Amazon at the moment, because obviously you've got a separate program with Amazon.
Yeah. Okay, I'll look into it and I'll revert back through LPR. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, big thanks to Chris for designing the Razor Crest and the team for putting it together. Big thumbs up, Chris. Well done, because no one's really said that to you, so I just wanted to say that. 5 tiers, 16,334, I think we're currently on. It's amazing. Yeah. Would you consider one more tier, 20,000 with a blurg, please?
So I can state definitively there's no blurg coming. Sorry, James. Yeah, no, the blurg would be a significant. Oh no, sorry. As a tier for HasLab, it would be a pretty significant tier. We just couldn't do it.
Oh, we've got 4 days left, Patrick. We can throw something.
I know, right? No, I think Chris has said this earlier here in another one. Like, the Razor Crest has been an amazing and wonderfully pleasant surprise. Like, we planned for a couple tiers. You guys blew us away. We planned for more. You blew us away again. we added the 4th and 5th tiers. I think at this point, we'll see what the weekend holds, but I think at this point we're 4 days away, and we're still working on that Jawa. So I'm focused on that Jawa. Like, I really want that to be funded because I want that shipping to me with my Razor Crest, because that's an awesome Jawa. I've read comments online. There are parts of it that are exclusive that won't come to mainline. The card back, the accessories that are listed out, the kukri knife, the necklace, one version of the egg, all exclusive and won't come to mainline. So let's make that Jawa happen, and then we'll figure out the blurg in the future.
Cool.
Thank you guys so much again. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys. Really appreciate the chance to talk to you guys and your fans and talk Star Wars for a little bit. So looking forward to doing it again soon.
Yeah, really appreciate it. I love these real-time things with you guys, and I think it's important for us and for the brand internally, at least, to like have this sort of sit down and conversation. So thanks
Awesome.
again.